Yeah, Jai Shankar. Talks led by global experts offer the Centa teacher community insights into classroom practices and professional growth. Register for the sessions and actively participate by sharing your thoughts, joining calls, asking questions, and giving feedback to help us improve them. Good evening. On behalf of Centa, we are delighted you will join us today for Centa's webinar series for teachers. Today, we have a session on navigating adolescence, building bridges between teachers, parents, and teens. We are excited to announce that today's facilitator is Eshu Madaan. Welcome, Eshu ma'am.
Thank you so much for the entire center team for having me here.
Ms. Eshu Madaan is an accomplished educator, trainer, and curriculum specialist with over 14 years of impactful experience in teaching, instructional design, and educator development. She has trained over 1,000 teachers across India, significantly enhancing classroom practices and pedagogical approaches. As the headmistress of the international school, she led academic transformation and operational excellence. Ishu has successfully spearheaded professional learning communities across 10 schools in Mumbai, fostering collaborative teaching and continuous professional growth. A strong advocate for student centered learning and technology integration, she designs and implements innovative instructional strategies that improve both learners and educators. Ishu is also the co founder of Skillsphere, through which she delivers high impact training programs tailored to deliver audience, driving educational excellence and leadership development. Welcome again to our esteemed facilitator.
Thank you. A 13-year-old Ria sat quietly in her room, staring at her textbook. She couldn't read the book as her mind wandered. The words blurred. She could only recall the fight between her parents, which happened 2 nights before. She was very depressed and sad. Her father noticed and asked, "What happened, Ria?" She didn't reply. She didn't open up. Another thing which comes to her mind that she was not invited to her one of friend's birthday party. Her father said, "Forget whatever happened. It's not the end of the world." But this doesn't help, and she couldn't open up. She again sat quietly depressed in her room. Next morning, she went to school. She sat in the classroom, but she couldn't attend the class. She felt very low. She couldn't concentrate on her studies. The teacher notices and asks, "What happened, Ria? Can I help you?" She didn't open up. How can we bridge the gap? Many adolescents like Ria face such kind of situations where they feel they are not noticed, they cannot open up, they cannot share. So today, in this session, Navigating Adolescence, we are going to build a supportive ecosystem together. Adolescence is a critical phase of challenges, emotions, and growth. So today in this session, let's explore how teachers, parents, and teens can collaborate. This creates understanding and supports a very healthy development. And how can we build that healthy ecosystem for the adolescents so that they can open up? Understanding teen emotions, it's not just drama, it's the roller coaster of emotions. Sometimes, as educators, as parents, we feel that children want attention, that's why they are doing. But this 13-year-old Ria's experience highlights the intensity of teen feelings. We will explore the science behind these emotions and offer strategies for support. Adolescents experience heightened emotional reactivity, making understanding crucial. The teen brain is a work in progress. Let's see how. The teen brain is always in a developing mode till mid 20s. Do you know that the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for reasoning, which is responsible for decision making, which is responsible for focus and concentration, this is also responsible for memory. The memory for remembering like mental maths and the numbers, they are still in the progress of the developing memory. The amygdala, which is responsible for all the emotion centers, is hypersensitive during the teen years. That's the reason, due to this developing brain, the teens often react emotionally before thinking rationally due to the brain development. It's not that they don't want to take a decision, but they are unable to do so because of the logic behind this of developing brain. They are not able to take rational decisions. They are not able to open up easily because they feel emotionally insecure. The another thing which very important factors which comes over here is the hormonal roller coaster, which works as a adding fuel to the fire. Puberty triggers a surge in hormones like testosterone and estrogen, which has a very significant impact on their mood. Because of that, they have mood swings, sensitivity, and social anxiety. 70% of the adolescents face this social anxiety, and they also have the physical changes. The physical changes increase in acne on their faces, due to which they have low self esteem. They are not confident to come out. And there are other physical changes which are happening due to these hormonal changes. The teens want to fit in everything. They want to fit it into society. They want to fit in their group. They want to fit it in the class. Fitting is in everything for them due to this adolescence. Peer acceptance is very critical for self-esteem and identity formation. They seek validation from peers, they seek validation from parents, they seek validation from teachers, not because they are not confident, because of the hormonal roller coasters and the prefrontal cortex, which is they are not able to make good decisions. Social rejection activates the pain centers in the brain. Cyberbullying. Almost 70% of adolescents experience the cyberbullying. The signs of rejection, it really hurts. The brain scans show that the social rejection activates the same areas as physical pain. So it's not only the pain of the brain, it is the pain of the physical body also, which they feel due to the rejection. There's another hormone which comes into the role is oxytocin. Oxytocin is also known as the love hormone, as a result of which it is a bonding hormone. It can buffer against rejection. How it acts as a buffer against rejection, it can decrease and help to lower the pain of the social rejection. It cannot fully prevent it, but still, if you treat the adolescent with love and care, it can help them to have that emotional buffer. It can help them to bond with themselves more easily, and it can decrease the pain of rejection. Personal impact, inclusion from a group, not this exclusion from a group can not only be a friend group but also from the class group. Suppose we take an example of Ria. Going back to our story, as Ria was already feeling depressed because of the parents fight, and she was not invited on the birthday party by her friends. And the next morning when Ria comes to the class, and the teacher all of the sudden she says, Ria, today you have to go to this group and perform the activity. She will not understand the reason, or she will not think that there might be a reason why the teacher is saying that. So as an educators, we are supposed to build that connection with the child, and first of all have a communication with them that why you're going to change the group, or you're suppose you're going to take a decision. You can also take the consent of the child, and also you can explain to the child, because you're going to help this child, or maybe you will benefit more from this group. That is the reason we are changing you to another group. This will help them to have bond with you, and they will be open up to you in case they are not comfortable. But if we are going to have a sudden change in their groups or even the seats in the classroom, it also becomes a very personal thing for them. Now, the very first step, how we can support. We can support by validating emotions. Acknowledge the feelings. Acknowledge their feelings without minimizing or dismissing them. How they are feeling. You can build a circle time in a class just in morning 5 to 10 minutes where they can be aware of their feelings. And you can also acknowledge how they are feeling so that you're also aware how your child in the class is feeling. And even as a parent also, we can just greet the child in the morning and ask, how are you feeling today? So that they can put presence to their emotions, and then we can acknowledge those emotions. Even if they are sad, they are not happy, so acknowledge those feelings. Support. Saying, I understand this feels really, really important to you now. You can also say that the importance of this is maybe to you in this way and maybe to us in a very different way. So, allowing such powerful and positive statements, just saying one thing that I understand, it will give a very beautiful and an important impact on the child. Avoid dismissal. Avoid phrases like you are overreacting, it's not a big deal, it's not the end of the world. Such statements are not going to help the child. These statements are going to take the child more far away from you. So, avoiding these dismissal statements or dismissing them or minimizing, not acknowledging them, first of all, we have to remove all those three negative things. This is the first step to support the adolescents. Second thing is communication is the key. Communication strategies, it do helps communicating. And if the child is not opening up to you as a parent or educator, you can always build up a communication. And to build up the communication, we need an agenda. So you can always start by asking open-ended questions. Tell me more about what happened. Oh wow, you're looking really good today. Something good happened? Or maybe, is there something you would like to discuss with me, or there is something you would like to inform to me? So asking such kind of questions, and even not pointing the child, or you can have it in a very group activity where all the children are discussing one positive thing or maybe one negative thing or providing a feedback. So building such a circle time in the morning or maybe towards the end of the day where all the children can come across together and then sit and then communicate. You can also practice active listening. Active listening is very, very important. Now, practice active listening. So, when they are explaining something to you, let them speak, let them complete. Reflect back what you hear them saying. Pay attention to each and every word the child was sharing to you. What does it mean? Maybe the child mean different. If you're not able to understand why the child is saying, so you can ask, can you define it more properly? Or you can define specifically so that you know what the child actually feels and how they are able to understand the things that happening around them, and if they are not comfortable with something, then share experiences. This is a very beautiful way, sharing experiences, like we shared a story of Ria today. Similarly, you can build up a story, you can weave a story, or you can also quote any of your friends, son or daughter, if you are aware of something which is happening in your child's life. So share that experiences and build connection. Maybe you could share any story of your teenage, like you had a group of 6 to 7 friends, and then they wanted to you to join them in a science stream, but then you wanted to join a commerce stream, and but you were really upset that you may not be able to make new friends. Then how to make these choices? So, sharing such experiences indirectly, the child will automatically open up to you and they will start sharing. Then, addressing emotions. How these strategies will be effective if you're going to address the emotions. Understanding the mood swings. So, now we have learned the science behind the emotions and the hormones. So learn to recognize their address and mood swings and anxiety. So they will not say that, I am feeling bad today or maybe I'm feeling anxiety because they don't know only. So how to address those? Promoting emotional regulation. Help teens develop emotional regulational skills. Now, how to develop those emotional regulation skills is by using mindfulness techniques, and these techniques has to be practiced in a daily life. Practicing affirmations do work wonders for adolescents. So how positively in the morning or before sleeping they are going to have affirmations. They could stand in the front of mirror and they could talk to themselves and they could talk 5 positive things about them. And if they are not able to identify those 3 to 5 things, then as a parent and educator, we are going to help them to identify those positive things in them. So this has helped them to promote emotional regulation. And you can also help them to do the mindful exercises, breathing exercises, deep breathing, which is going to help them to control the emotions. Drinking plenty of water so they could regulate their anger. Recognizing signs, identify the signs of depression. This is very, very important. Children do feel depressed. They feel depressed for small things. In case they are not invited for the party, they are not given a chance for any activity which they want to come out, they are not able to participate in the quiz. So all such signs may contribute to the depression, or may they have anger issues or anxiety issues. So very first point over here is to understand and then promote emotional regulation techniques and recognize the sign of depression. Practical tips. So encourage expression. The very first is the encourage the emotional expression through journaling or art. Art is a very beautiful technique. If the child is not able to speak or open up, now some children doesn't like to speak too much, but they are very good in art. Or even if they are not have very good artistic hand, so having art based activities in the classroom or even with your team or as a parents, as a family, we can simply give a theme and tell them, just show them a ship. Suppose you show them a ship which is there in the ocean, and tell them like what are you interpreting from this, or they can draw their version. So in this way you will be able to understand what are the emotion the child is going through. So art is a very beautiful technique. You can also encourage them to maintain a journal, because when they start writing they will be able to express themselves. And it's not then when the child is writing, journal, and then parents start sometimes to peek into their journals. So as adolescents and as parents, we need to pay that attention to their privacy also. So very important over here is again build a connection. Communication is again a very important key, whether it is between parents and the students or educators or the students. So build that connection that if the child wants to share their journal, then only we can browse through it. Otherwise, if there is no need, you don't feel a very heightened emotions, you cannot see those heightened emotions, then it is okay. But otherwise, also seek permission and have a mutual consent with the child, only then browse through the journaling. Then teach coping mechanism again comes in the term of emotional regulation skills only, deep breathing and mindfulness activities, the power of gratitude, the power of positive affirmations. We all are aware of that, but then are we following in our class on the daily basis? Doing it once a month or once a day or in 15 days, it's not going to help. These techniques have to be done on the regular basis with the child, because if you're not practicing, it's not going getting into the system scientifically, and it's not benefiting the child as well. Then if you think really that they need some professional help, so as a parent also and as an educator also, there is no harm of recommending therapy or a counselor. Many schools have school counselors, and if some school doesn't have a school counselor, there are a lot of school counselors which are available online, and they do keep the privacy of the child. Do seek the help of professionals when required, because these therapies and counseling do help the children. Positive parenting communication. Now, as an educator, sometimes we feel maybe the parent will get offended if we are going to talk about this, but no, it's very, very important to communicate. Again, active listening, practice active listening and empathy in conversations. Be empathetic with the child, with the parent, and do listen to their perspective also. Setting boundaries, establish clear boundaries and expectations for the team. Sometimes we expect from our child, we expect from a student, but we don't tell them what we actually expect from them. So build those objectives with them, because objectives are not only for the lesson plans, objectives are also from the real life, what you're expecting from your child. So establish those clear boundaries and expectations for the teams. Conflict resolutions, and if you have noticed any conflict between two children in the class, implement effective conflict resolution strategies. Don't leave the conflicts opened and unresolved, because it's really going to harm the children in the later on stages, because sometimes these conflicts only take a very harmful turn, like we have seen and witnessed one of that in the movie Adolescence, which is uh, everybody I believe have seen. It's all over the social media. So it's very important, when you notice any conflict, do resolve it. Power of I statement. Now, I is a very, very powerful tool. Rather than saying I feel upset when, instead of saying you always, you can say, I feel upset when one of my friend doesn't notice me, or I feel upset when my friend doesn't give me time, or yeah, I feel upset when my parents were busy. So this kind of powerful statements encourages the open communication. So either you can identify the mood swings or anxiety by having the proper connection with the child and noticing. And otherwise, if you think there is something going wrong, you can start with I statements. This will build a very, very strong impact in your classrooms. Creating a supportive classroom. How do you create a supportive classroom? So building rapport, develop a rapport and trust with the students. Now, if a child has shared something with you, don't directly share with the parent if you think it is not required, until unless it is not required for you to actually tell the parent. Sometimes the child only seeks support from the teacher, and if you think you can handle it on your basis, so have that trust, do guide the child. And if you think it is really important, then only in a very positive manner, and after informing the child, have a discussion with the parent. Because if the child has already opened up to you and then you share directly something with the parent, next time the child will not come and open up to you, and you will lose that rapport. So building a rapport is very, very important. And how this building repo takes place. This building repo takes place when you actually give time to the children. So out of your curriculum, like say if you don't have any SEL class or you don't have any circle times, find time for 10 minutes a week or at least 10 minutes by the end of the day or early morning when you're there in the class. So build that connection. Use inclusive methods. Use inclusive and engaging teaching methods. Now, what are those inclusive and engaging teaching methods are? When so you can have some activity where they are talking about emotions or they are telling about what are their preferences. So building some kind of activities, and these activities can be built in the subject wise topics also. It's not that you have to, you know, cut out some extra time. This can be done in the subject specific activities as well, where the children are also valued. Especially when people talk about mathematics, I think in mathematics these kind of engaging activities cannot be done, but no, they can really be done, because the activities like talking about banking and all this, they help them to make decisions in their life. So all such topics, especially when you talk about mathematics and STEM teachings, when you integrate art, if suppose you're giving an extended activity to child to do at home, so let them sometimes create their own groups so that you can see who the child is bonding to, and then you can sometimes give an homework as audiobooks as well. So all such activities, you will also come to know that which kind of company the child prefers, and you will also come to see that how they are coming as a group and how their bonding is, and you will also be able to see their version, their point of view. So giving such open-ended assignments will also help you to create a very supportive classroom. Supporting learners. Identify and support struggling learners effectively. When you know that child is struggling with some issues and they are not able to learn or they are not able to come to your expectations, you need to identify those children and build different strategies. Now, peer pressure and social media. This is again a very, very have a very impact on the child adolescents. So understanding that impact, social media's impact on self-esteem. They want to be there on social media, but sometimes even the schools and even the parents share some pictures and maybe the child is not looking good and maybe the pose is not correct, so they don't feel satisfied and it starts conflict with the parents, and also the child does not want to come to school because of this issue. So whenever you're going to put any picture on social media, maybe as a school or maybe as a parent, do take the consent of the child, because maybe you have just put that image on the social media to show some activity, but then other children, how are they perceiving? Are maybe they are teasing him or bullying him for the outer looks? Then we need to be very mindful of such things, because this builds a lot of peer pressure on their mind. Positive relationships. Now, how to promote positive peer relationships? When again, some strategies like inclusive teaching and having the SCL classroom, or maybe the session with the counselors as a class, talking of the puberty, taking up the topics as building relationships. So such kind of topic discussions and healthy discussions can really promote positive relationships. Resisting pressure. These strategies for resisting negative peer pressure. Now, giving them, there is a very beautiful quote which Priyanka Chopra shares on the media, that if somebody calls you elephant doesn't mean that you become an elephant. So talking about all those motivational talks once in a while, so that somebody else's words cannot define you. So that's how you resist the negative peer pressure. You will become what you think. Your thoughts matter. And also why, and this is taken as a bully as well, so that the other child also understands that using such kind of words are really harmful, and it can also have a very negative impact on the other person. Next is collaboration and resources. Connect with the professionals. Link parents, teachers, and teens to the mental health support. Now, there is a very beautiful ad which comes across on the TV, where there are few group of girls. They just walk into the office of gynecologist, and they have very valid questions. They want to have the right answers. So where to collaborate? So schools can collaborate, or parents can also take their children to gynecologist. Even not only girls, boys also want a lot of knowledge on these issues which they are facing. So they require the mental health support. They require the answer for all those questions. So connecting with the professionals is very important. Now, many schools have school counselors, but then the timetable doesn't allow that, the school counselor can come to all the classes on the regular basis. But even if the academic timetable, the child also go to the school counselor, then there is not a built up in such a way that every child can go and seek the help of school counselor when they're feeling depressed. So culling out that time, that resource is available in school, but then how to use it and plan it for the betterment of children, it's very, very important. So framing the timetable, giving that buffer, giving that liberty to children when they can actually go and seek the help. And also, the school counselor can go to visit the classes regularly and can also observe the children so that the proper professional support can be given. Now, as a parent, sometimes we notice those issues, but then we are not ready to really open up because we think that what another person will be thinking, or maybe you don't want to talk about this, and you maybe think that this is not important. But when the resources are available, and if you don't want to use a concrete one, so there are a lot of resources which are online available, which keep the confidentiality of the child, and you can seek an appointment. And also the audio appointments are available. It's not that you will really, the child has to go and sit over there, or you can have to physically open the video and then you have. So it's up to you and your child's choice. In case you want to have the audio appointments, you can have the audio appointments. You can take that mental health support doesn't require that there is a lot of anxiety. Even for small issues, if you think the child really wants to talk to somebody else, so let them connect. Community programs, utilize the community based programs and the support programs. There are a lot of community based program and support groups required. There are groups for adolescents which are available, and also the community based. Some schools has also developed a very beautiful community of adolescents where children are the leader and only one or two teachers are appointed with them, and they take up the issues regularly, and there is a proper activity based discussions over there, and the issues are addressed. The children come and talk about the puberty issues, their hormonal issues, and if they're not feeling good about themselves, so if they have the acne, and if another child is having acne, so is it right to tease the child? Is it right to call the child, pimple? So all those groups are developed in few of the schools. So it is suggested to develop such community-based programs, and these community-based programs can be run by the leader of the groups only. So you can build a system where the child is the leader of the group and only one or two adults are there, so that on the regular basis they can discuss. And the proper documentation is happen. What is the topic? The children also prepare PPTs and then present to the children. So this kind of community programs and the support groups can be developed in the school system to help the children. Parent and educator resources. Now provide resources for parents and educators. So as in educators, we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of webinars which are also available, like you are going to join today as well. So you can ask any professional help also needed from those people who conduct webinars. So there are specially therapists also available. So you can also go back to that therapist and talk about them, because the prefrontal cortex, which is there in the children, it keeps on developing till mid 20s. It's not only for 1 or 2 years, till 20s it's keep on developing. So their decision making is affected, their self control is affected, they are not able to plan and organize, their attention and focus is also developed. Personality express, it plays a very vital role, and it has unique traits in social behavior. Working memory, the temporary holds memory is also there. So this prefrontal cortex, still it is the work in progress, and it is again and again evolving. The child will feel those anxiety, the fears. So the amygdala, which we mentioned on the very beginning, this The amygdala is a small almond shaped cluster which is located deep in the temporal lobe. It plays a major role in emotions, especially fear, anger, and pressure. So, emotional processing is there. It helps the child to react emotionally to events, especially those linked to the survival. Fear responses. So, triggers fear. Sometimes there is a loud noise or there is a banging noise, our body just shakens. So, amygdala is playing the role. So, it triggers kind of fear or anxiety. In adults, also, it is there. But for adolescents, it is heightened emotion. That's a result of that. Even the memory of the child is affected because their emotions are not regulated, so they are not able to learn and focus properly. Involving in reading facial expressions and responding to social issues, the child is very much concerned about the validation. Looking at the teacher, if then the teacher is not looking into the eye of the child, or the look towards the child is not fine, the child does not feel appreciated, so they seek validation. The child is always seeking validation from the peer group, from the parents, and there is nothing wrong in it because their amygdala is still in the process of developing. So these are the reasons. That's why the adolescents require the maximum support. Adolescents and teen, it's not just a drama. Sometimes we feel that they are acting or they are seeking attention. That's what is happening. No, it's because they are not able to make the rational decisions because of this constant conflicts which they are facing inside them, and they don't know who to approach. And everybody notices, like Ria's father noticed, going back to our story, Ria's teacher notices. Just she was not invited for a birthday party, which because of which she felt so depressed and sad, and she had just shut down herself in a room. And if these small issues which are not addressed timely, it becomes a very big and a personal matter for a child, and the child feels excluded from the group. So, as an educators and as an parents, it is very important for us to seek and see those emotions, validate those emotions, and provide a proper support to the child. And also, it is very important for parents also not to have any negative impact in front of the child. By how, like, the parents keep on fighting, so the parents fight becomes a very negative thing for the child's life. The child doesn't feel happy. Maybe you are just arguing and discussing. So the parents are advised, if you're going to have any discussion, because even sometimes the healthy discussion the child perceives as an argument. The child's brain is not that developed, they're able to understand that this was a healthy argument. So the parents are advised to take a proper time for themselves. They're going to have some decision, they're going to make some decision, or they have some conflicts on agreeing something. So the parents are advised to go in a different space or call out a time and not to discuss in the front of children, because the disturbed relationship of parents creates a lot of stress on the child, because the child feels the same. The child feels, maybe I will also not be able to keep my relationships healthy, because for the child, the parents relationship with the adolescents, it is very important. For adolescents, as oxytocin buffer is there, it is a love hormone which is developing and bridging. So if they seek love, they seek love from the society, they seek love from the peer group, they seek love from the parents. So with little more support, with the help, and with lots of love, we are able to help those children, then we should. So the lots of Ria can live a happy and a healthy life. For more details, do follow me on LinkedIn and YouTube handle where I talk and take out the sensitive issues, and do follow me on Instagram. Thank you.
Thank you, Eshu Madaan, for a very engaging and informative session for our community of teachers. And I'm sure that our teachers have taken a lot of takeaways from this session. Let me check if there are any questions from the audience.
Sure.
How can we create a supportive classroom environment where students feel safe to express their emotions especially during period of mood swings or emotional distress?
So, as I shared, there should be, first of all, we should can create a timetable where there's a circle time for the children, or they can be SEL learner time for children, where you can take up those discussions in a very positive manner, not using you, but using I. So you can start with the I powerful statement and create such lesson plans which help children to come out and discuss about their issues. So build that circle time with the children and let them speak one by one. Like for example, you can talk about like I am feeling really happy today. Yeah, I am feeling stressful today because maybe I got up late and and then every event in the morning went late. So you can start with I and then we can sit in the circle time and let the child speak one by one so that they can share up their concerns and then you can address those children.
What to do if a student is not ready to open up in the class despite all the efforts?
Now, very first thing, it happens actually many times a child is not ready to open up. Child is not open up because we have not built that rapport and the trust with the child. So how will that child build a rapport and trust with you when you're going to actually give that time to the child? So have the open communications, ask open-ended questions like uh, maybe if the child was absent yesterday, so next day you ask the child, I really missed you yesterday. Why didn't you come to school? So building such a small uh, things repo really matter to the child. When you ask that the child was missed, you can create a repo with the child. So this repo building doesn't happen in one day, or it will not happen at all when something has already gone wrong. So building the repo is very important at the beginning. So building the repo happens throughout when you get your new class and as educators and even as a parents also on everyday basis keep a fixed time for communication with the child. So building that rapport on daily basis will help the child to really open up when something goes wrong, and if they have that faith in you that yes you are there.
How do I balance academic expectations with the emotional well being of adolescents?
So if your center team can I like there is a lot of noise coming in the back end, so please look into that. So how to balance that academic syllabus with the emotional? So very first thing is the our priority as an educators as a school should be first of all towards the emotional well-being, because if child is not emotionally stable, child is not able to pay attention. So whenever the academics are planned, the emotional well-being has to be taken care of. Mindfulness techniques, and like also shared in the webinar, that activity based learning. When you talk about activity based learning, so there are many activities which can be integrated during the subjects and in the subjects itself, where you can talk about decision making. So if you talk about decision makings and let the child put their points forward, giving them extended activities and open-ended assignments where they can sit with their peer group and they can present their views. So this is how you can blend academics with the emotions, and this is how you will also be able to address their emotions and any other issues which they are facing.
Oh, sorry. How can I recognize signs of anxiety, depression, or social rejection in a student?
So when the child does not want to come out and speak about anything, or the child doesn't want to participate in the activities, so you will be able to see that the child has shut himself or herself. So those will be the very first sign. If you see the the performance of the child has deprived, or maybe the child was taking keen interest in some subject and now their interest has decreased, or maybe attendance of the child has become low, and also the child is not eating healthy in the class. So those are very few symptoms in the beginning which we can see as an educator in the class, and then we can work towards it. And also sometimes the child sits excluded, the child want to sit alone. That also, these are also the sign that child is feeling upset about something, and you can talk about to that to the child by using open ending statements.
I personally feel nowadays we are not able to create the trust among learners as it was a few years back. Will anything help me on that, ma'am?
Yeah, definitely. Now, see, either to as a teachers and educators, we could say the school timetable is not allowing us, or maybe we can say, I don't have time, I have to work on subject specific. So when if you think that this is something which is not working, so how as a teacher you can create that environment? You can definitely create an environment with the child. Maybe sometimes you can have a little treat in the class. Now little treat doesn't mean that you have to bring cokes and coffees into the classroom. You can tell them just to bring anything healthy, and then you can sit a time, and then you can share your experiences. When you start sharing your experiences and weaving stories, that trust and the faith with the child and the connection will start building up. Another thing is active listening. Everything do needs time. So as an educators, we need to actually invest in that time, and we have to call out that time for the child, maybe adolescent, maybe early years, maybe later. So this is important for all the ages, that as an educators you call out time. Maybe in the morning we do have time when the children are coming one by one. So in the morning you're asking the child how important the child is to you, and if the child is not opening up, share your stories, share your adolescent stories, share your stories with the children 3 years back, and I'm sure this is definitely going to help you.
You talked about bullying, but how to take out the kids out of the negative impact of bullying when it comes from their fellow mates? And how should we deal with the kid who has committed such an act?
Now, see, here we need to understand even that if another child who has created the negative bully is also a child, is also in the same age and is facing the same issues. So it is very important for us that it is not a crime. Okay. At the same time, it should not take the part of the crime also. That's also we need to notice. When you see that some child has already done this misconduct or the act is not right, so first of all, talk to that child and see from where the baggage is coming, what the child was facing, what are the issues that child is facing. Maybe there is a very different story. So once you are able to identify the entire story of the child, you are able to identify what the child is facing, who is bullying the another child, you'll be able to get the solution. So here, uh, only dismissing the child and punishing the child will not help at all. So addressing the child and talking to that child, having that open communication with the child will definitely help, because the child is also going through the same phase of adolescence. This is how we can build this system together.
How to handle over pampered?
Almost now all the children are over pampered because there are a lot of nuclear families, and even many parents go for single child as well. So everyone can be treated with the love. So love language is a very, very important tool over here. If you are communicating with the child with love and using empathetic words, and you're using strategies where the child is opening up, and also you have made learning fun for the child. So this is how you can bridge the gap with that pampered child as well, because the pampered child is pampered with a lot of resources, because the parents sometimes are absent, or maybe they're very busy with their work because they're earning, and they're busy for the child only. But then still the child needs time. So that if you spend and invest the very important thing, which is time, once that time is invested from you, the child is definitely going to listen to you. So investing with your time is very important, and that the love language, these are the two key things which can definitely help you to help that pampered child, and you can get connected with the child as well.
What measures can we take if the child keeps getting distracted and disturbed the class and does not stop even if we try our best?
So see, trying, how the very very first important thing is how we are trying. Now we are trying from our perspective is not going to help, so we have to try what the child is expecting and what the child wants. So setting the clear boundaries, setting the objectives of your classroom, setting the objectives as an adult, you are having expectations from the teen, from the adolescents. So setting all those boundaries is very very important. Sometimes the child even doesn't know that what you are expecting. If once you had clarified those boundaries, and then don't swing. If once you have said no for something, stick to that and be with that. And that's how you can set up the clear boundaries and you can help the child.
How can we integrate mental health professionals, community programs, or professional development for teachers to support adolescent development?
Very beautiful thing when you face this is to have a professional learning community in schools. So the schools should have professional learning community. Professional learning community, you can take up any topic and any objective for the year, where the entire school can work towards it. So suppose if you want to bring and develop a community program, so a special team, and in this team, anybody can be the member. So professional learning community meeting every Saturdays or any other days, we are going to discuss the issue, the objective which you have decided. Suppose you want to create one community program, that so very first step with the professional learning community, you can go with first objective of creating the community program for children, especially for adolescents. And then under those community programs, what will be the problems which you will be solving? You need to identify that problem, then create a solution, and then have it on regular basis. So if you cannot do it on daily basis, you could do like on Saturdays, or you could do it fortnightly, but that it should be whatever the community decides, that you can go with it. And those community programs, like I shared, that children can be the part of those community, and only one or two adults can be there. Professional learning community of the teachers can design that, but it can start running automatically. Alumni can also be the part of that community programs, which can help the children, because children will love to hear from the alumni, because they look up to them where they have reached, and they have also gone through the same phase, they could correlate. We can also refer to motivational speakers, and you can have motivational workshops in your school. So this is how you can definitely work with that.
How do I respond when my teenager says, "You don't understand me"?
So from where it is coming, because when the child says you don't understand me, it means that actually we have not done active listening. You have not listened to the child properly. When the child was explaining and telling, we may had cut down the voice of the child, that's why the child is not opening up. Or maybe you have judged the child, so that's why the child is saying you don't understand. So as parents also, we do sometimes, we start explaining from our perspective. So very important is to put yourself in their shoe and have that active listening. Put importance to each and every single word which the child is sharing. This is very very important. When the child is sharing their, even maybe some good things, listen to them and pay attention and say, I understand. Even if the child is bothered about small thing, that my friend has taken away uh, my this book or something without my consent, and becomes a matter of like very self-esteem for them, then acknowledge it. and say, I understand this book is really, really important to you. I understand this is something you are going through it. And then definitely the child will not share with to you that, you don't understand.
As an educator, what can I do when learners are not ready for learning and they feel like bored and feel tired, etc.?
When the children are not ready to learn, it means that they need a break. They want a change. So give them the change. Listen to them. Once you listen to them or take them in class, take your classroom outside the class setting. Maybe you could take in a basketball court or a cricket pitch, or take up in a very different atmosphere and have the way they want to learn, create that lesson plan, create that environment from them. So they are going to listen to you next time for sure.
I have query about when the parents have not accepting that my child has some psychological issue, what we can do at that time.
This is actually a very tough thing to do, because parents also need some help, but they don't want to seek help from the teacher or something. So in such cases, definitely it is an educator, our duty is to explain the entire scenario to the parent. And so you can also share some information of the counselor or therapist, which the parents can opt outside the school, because the parent doesn't want the school to know. So you can do one thing is that. Second thing, you can also provide the support to the child. At best, what you can take the help of the school counselor and as a teacher, if in case the school counselor is not there. So you can create a proper study. You can study about the child and then read and research, and you can take guidance from this any counselor or a therapist, and then you can help at best whatever you can.
You talked about building rapport and using inclusive method. Can you give a few specific teaching practices that have worked well in your experience?
So building rapport, yeah, definitely. Circle time has actually worked wonder for me. And every morning when the child is coming, the very first thing, the smile on your face. Smile connects the smile. So a beautiful smile on your face, whatever may had happened at home, whatever maybe you are facing. So very beautiful smile on your face when the child is coming, greet the child. This is how you connect with the child. And then circle times. And in the circle time, it has to be like the child should be waiting for every like Friday or Saturday when you're going to have that circle time. And as a mathematics educator, I do used to have circle time even in the maths class as well. So if suppose use this technique of mental maths, so whosoever loses the mental maths has to answer the question from some other child. It can be any question, it can be a personal question, or it can be any uh, hot question or something. In this way, the children have asked each other in a very funny and in a very lighter manner, and then they have all answered also. So it has this technique has worked wonders with me.
What are some go-to open-ended questions you recommend teachers use when they sense a student is emotionally overwhelmed?
Can you please repeat the question once again?
Sure. What are some go-to open-ended questions you recommend teachers use when they sense a student is emotionally overwhelmed?
Now, open-ended, like you can either share your experiences, or you can start weaving a story or telling a story, or some open-ended statements like, I understand you. I really enjoy with my this friend, and which is one of your friend. Or you can also share like my go-to book or my go-to meal. So such kind of statements where the child can tell about their comfort meal, or they can tell you about their comfort book, or they can also tell about the comfort place. So you can start with those things, and the child can also open up to you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your responses.
Thank you so much.
If you have registered and filled out the feedback form for the session, check your participation record in the app in the My Learning section. I will guide you through the instructions. Step 1. Open the Center app on your device. Step 2. Navigate to the ongoing webinar section. Step 3. Click on Submit Feedback. Please note that this option will be available at 6 p.m. IST. Step 4. At the end of the session, we will share a 4-digit code required for feedback. Enter this code to access the feedback form 3726. Step 5. Complete the feedback form and you will be able to download your record of participation instantly. This new process was introduced to streamline your experience and ensure your participation is instantly recognized. Important announcement: the feedback form will be available only through the Center app and will not be shared in the session. Download the Center app today. Thank you so much to all participants for engaging with us today. To register for more such upcoming webinars, please visit the Center app. Good night.